Polruan is one of those Cornish villages that looks simple on a map, but needs a bit of understanding before you go. It sits on the quieter side of the Fowey estuary across the water from Fowey, with cottages tucked into the hillside and views that get better the higher you climb. But Polruan is not an easy, effortless day out. It's steep, tight, old, and slightly awkward, in the way many of Cornwall's best places are. You do not come here for easy parking, level pavements, big sandy beaches, or a long afternoon of shopping. You come for the ferry crossing, the harbour, the climb, and the walk-in. My honest take is this: Polruan is well worth visiting if it fits into a Fowey, ferry, or walk-in day. If you treat it as a standalone stop by car, it can feel like a lot of effort for a small village. The best way to reach Polruan is from Fowey by passenger ferry. That crossing is part of the experience. It only takes a few minutes, but it gives you the right arrival. River, harbour, and Polruan tucked into the slope ahead. During service hours, the ferry usually works more like a shuttle than a formal once-an-hour boat. The Fowey landing can change by season and time of day. But if you're already in Fowey, crossing by ferry is the cleanest way to do it. You can drive to Polruan, but I would not make that my first choice unless you have a good reason. The roads are narrow and steep, and parking close to the quay is very limited. Most drivers are better using St Saviour's car park at the top, but that means walking down into Polruan and then back up afterwards. The climb is fine if you're fit and travelling light. It's less charming with tired children, heavy bags, or someone who struggles with steep ground. The village itself is compact. Around the quay you have the ferry, public toilets, places to sit, a local shop with post office, a couple of pubs close by, and small harbour beaches. Those beaches are fine for a pools, a paddle, or a bit of boat watching. But they're not the reason to plan a beach day here. What Polruan does have is atmosphere. From the quay there is always movement on the harbour. The ferry, the boats, the tide, the sound of the water against stone. Polruan feels like it faces the water more than it faces the road, and gives that village its character. The best historic feature is the blockhouse. It was built in 1380 as part of the harbour defences, with a chain once used across the river to help protect the port. Stand there, look across to Fowey, and the logic of the place becomes clearer. The river was valuable, exposed, and worth defending. From around here, you can also pick out St Catherine's Castle and Ready Money Beach on the Fowey side. I've covered both of those in another video, but they're worth knowing about if you're already in this area. St Catherine's Castle has some brilliant views back towards Polruan, and Ready Money Beach is one of the best places in Fowey for a swim. After that, if you have the legs for it, climb towards St Saviour's Hill. Down by the quay, Polruan is charming, but from higher up you start to understand the whole setting. The rooftops below you, Fowey across the river, and estuary mouth ahead, and the sea beyond. There are benches around the higher ground, and I would use them. The climb is part of the visit, but so is stopping and letting the view do the work. Access is a big practical thing here. Polruan is not an easy access village. The ferry is reached by steps and slipways, and wheelchairs cannot be wheeled onto the boat. The village has steep lanes, steps, and uneven sections. I would not recommend it for relaxed, accessible wandering. A limited visit around the quay may be realistic if the ferry boarding is manageable. With pushchairs is a similar story. They're welcome on the ferry, but once you leave the quay, the hills and lanes become awkward quickly. For small children, a carrier may be the better day option. Where Polruan really comes into its own is walking. The southwest coast path passes through the village, and the route towards Polperro is properly rewarding. If you want a more serious coastal walk, expect hills, uneven ground, and big sea views. This is not a gentle promenade walking. The classic local route is the Hall Walk, which links Fowey, Badinnick, and Polruan using ferry crossings. It's one of the best ways to use Polruan if you want the day to feel more substantial. You get the river, woodland, creek views, and enough climbing to feel like you've earned your pint afterwards. For food and drink, the Lugger Inn is a stop that makes more sense if you have come off the ferry or finished a walk. I had lunch there with my daughter and had a proper Cornish pub feel, rather than somewhere trying too hard to be polished. I went for the Lugger burger, a Cornish beef burger with smoked cheese, pickles, burger sauce, an onion and fries. It was a sort of filling lunch that makes more sense if you're doing a bit of walking than trying to get by on snacks. My daughter had a chicken nuggets and chips from the kids' menu, and the portion was a decent size. The staff were very nice and helpful, which always matters when you're eating with a child. I had a pint of lager, she had a lemonade, and yes, the price added up. But it was nothing more than I would expect in a Cornish tourist location, especially right by the quay. There was also the Russell Inn set back on West Street, which gives you a more tucked-in village pub option. Polruan is small, so I would not build the whole day around one specific food stop, unless that part of your plan is firm. If choice matters, pair Polruan with Fowey. Polruan can work well with dogs, as long as your dog is comfortable with boats, steps and narrow lanes. Dogs are welcome on the passenger ferry and need to stay on a lead. The walks are the real bonus, but take care around harbour edges, slipways, wet stone and unfenced coast path sections. Polruan is best on a clear day because the views are such a big part of the reward. Spring and early autumn are probably the sweet spot for me. If I were sending someone to Polruan for the first time, I would keep it simple. Start in Fowey, take the ferry across, spend a little time around the quay, see the blockhouse, climb towards St Saviour's Hill, then come back down for a drink or food before crossing back to Fowey. If you only want the village, the view and the ferry ride, 2 or 3 hours is long enough. If you're staying in Fowey, walking the whole walk, exploring the estuary or looking for a quiet harbour village with proper character, Polruan is worth crossing the water for. If you want easy parking, level wandering, lots of shops or a full beach day, I would choose somewhere else. Polruan is better than that when you let it be itself. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers you.